Hello, my name is Sally Warren. I work at Paradigm with my colleague Jo Giles, and together we've written a report called Don't Ever Call Us Unskilled Again. And the report is about learning from the experience of support workers during COVID-19. This report is based on the responses from the Great Sport COVID-19 Snapshot Survey, which invited support workers across the country to capture their experiences, thoughts, ideas and learning during the pandemic and to share these with the nation. The report shares with you how support workers responded during the pandemic with thoughtfulness, creativity and dedication. It shares some key messages and must-haves for moving forward beyond the pandemic. And it also shares the plea of support workers to be valued and recognised as essential and highly skilled members of the social care workforce, not just now, but as society moves forward. We want to give a voice to support workers who don't generally get the opportunity to tell their story. We wanted to give them a platform to do this. Quote, "As per usual, support workers have a vital voice. They have proven to be highly skilled, caring, kind and resourceful. Powers that be must continue to listen and encourage more creative ways of support and value the role." End quote. 118 support workers filled in our survey. These support workers told us they were very proud of what they do in their jobs. They explained that to be a support worker, you have to have lots of skills. The support workers told us that working during the pandemic of coronavirus was very stressful at times, as they wanted to keep people safe and well. They didn't want them to get ill with coronavirus. They told us how they had to support people in lots of different ways during the pandemic. This was so they could help people stay in touch with family and friends, get food, and enjoy life as much as possible. The support workers had some very clear ideas and messages for people reading the report about supporting people during the pandemic and then coming out of the pandemic and the lockdown. They also told us what must be in place to ensure people are supported to live good lives long after the pandemic is over. We're going to tell you about these now. Key messages in responding to the pandemic. Message 1. Supported living settings need clear, timely guidance. Clear guidance for those with a learning disability and/or autism living on their own or in a shared home with support, known as supported living, is urgently required in order for people to be supported out of lockdown and in preparation for a possible second wave. The journalist Saba Salman, in an article in The Independent on the 14th of July 2020, said, "The government's guidance on coronavirus for supported living settings has been under development since mid-May, in contrast to care home guidance published 3 months ago and already updated at least once." Easy read information must also be published alongside any public announcement giving guidelines. These must be made available in a central place. People with a learning disability and autism watch the news as well. Message 2. Coronavirus tests must be available in supported living settings. Coronavirus tests must be easily available for all those living and working in supported living settings. Message 3. Support each person out of lockdown in the way that is right for them. Carefully consider how each person comes out of lockdown with the person themselves and those that are important to them. This must be done in a way that keeps each person as safe as possible, but also in a way that maximises their independence, autonomy, understanding and freedom. There is no one-size-fits-all way of achieving this. Commissioners must work alongside providers to ensure the necessary resources are available. Message 4. Recognise and support the essential role of support workers at this time. Agree how you will ensure support workers are able to recover and rebuild their energy, particularly considering a potential second wave may occur. This should include various forms of enhanced conditions, such as additional leave and/or hazard or bonus pay. It's also important to consider supporting people with their emotional well-being, offering reflective supervision and time with peers for informal connections and support. Message 5. Recognise and support the role of families and unpaid carers. Ensure that plans are in place to support families, many of whom have been caring full-time for their loved ones due to reductions in support during lockdown. This support for families must be ongoing, but needs additional consideration and actions as we ease out of lockdown. Many families will need respite, support plans and resources in place as we prepare for a potential second wave. Message 6. Society needs to act responsibly as lockdown eases. One of the most common messages from support workers was for the rest of society to adhere to guidance and respect the social distancing rules. Quote, "Please don't take for granted that things are improving and relax the standards that have helped us get to this point. There are still so many people who are vulnerable, and now is not the time to get lazy or they could suffer further." End quote. Message 7. Keep on building the community spirit. We must nurture the spontaneous and genuine natural connections with families, friends, and the wider community that have been created during this time. They are key to ensuring that people are valued citizens in their community. Message 8. Getting ready for a possible second wave. Government, regulators, commissioners, organisations and employers must stock up on PPE. Ensure that contingency and crisis plans are co-produced with self-advocates, families and support workers and communicated clearly. They must make sure that clear policies and procedures for staff are in place, communicated and understood. They need to fund and develop the necessary training, including leadership training, offer reflective supervision and facilitate opportunities for peer support. And they should establish relationships with local businesses such as supermarkets to ensure that priority food slots can be given to all those who receive support, not just those in residential care homes. Moving forward, a plea. Support and grow the good work, the passion and determination that already exists in social care. Make this the expectation and experience across the UK. Quote, "We have an opportunity for serious social change, so decide on what society should mean and aim to achieve it." End quote. Must have 1. Value and invest in social care. It's a mindset. Don't undervalue social care or see it as the poor relation to the NHS. Millions of citizens in the UK need support to live their lives. As one support worker sharply observed, quote, "Support social care. You may not need it now, but the day will come when you or somebody you love will. The health of a nation can be measured by its level of support offered to those in need. Let's be the best we can be." End quote. With such severe cuts to funding for over a decade, social care is on its knees. Many families who are supporting their loved ones are also exhausted. At its worst, social care has become little more than a threadbare safety net. In politicshome.com on the 14th of July 2020, Sir Andrew Dilnott wrote, "In all kinds of ways, we have a system that doesn't work, that doesn't look after the people who need it well, that doesn't look after the people providing the care well." The incredible response we have seen during the pandemic is simply not sustainable unless more investment is made. Must have 2. Ensure people have a place to live, which really means home, as you and we experience our homes. Governments, working alongside regulators, must value the fundamental differences between care homes, residential homes and supported living. The more choice and autonomy people have, the better. We must all commit to ensuring a future where people with a learning disability and/or autism are supported to live in small shared houses or on their own, rather than in large residential settings. This pandemic has highlighted that people are safer when they live in their own home or share their home with just a few other people of their choice, with a consistent team supporting them. Must have 3. Support people to regain and experience flourishing lives. At a time when people with a learning disability and/or autism have had to pause aspects of their lives, support workers are aware that some people may need focused support to regain these skills that are essential for their independence. Fundamental things like being able to shop, cook, meet up with friends and travel independently create possibilities and a sense of pride of self and value in life. As we say in the Practical Guide to the REACH standards, if we do not stay strong, questioning and determined to do this, people will be denied their human rights. It's a dangerously slippery slope. Must have 4. Increase the pay of support workers. The pay of support workers must increase to reflect their highly skilled, complex and diverse roles. Lack of local authority funding has driven down salaries to the point where other sectors outcompete social care as a career choice when they are looking at pay alone. Social care is fundamentally about relationships, trust, spending time alongside people, being motivated and making a difference. Support workers must be recognised and rewarded as principal key workers. A national support worker scale which pays people a salary which reflects their training and expertise is needed now. Quote, "We'll look back and see the response of frontline workers stepping up and doing what they always do. This should be recognised and acknowledged." End quote. Must have 5. Harness that natural creativity. Regulators and organisations need to work with support workers to minimise the restrictions that limit creativity. During lockdown, many support workers were reconnected with the soul of their work to be in relationships with individuals and figure out together how to make the best of life. This creativity must continue. Quote, "We should remember that we can do things differently, and we should continue to be as creative as we are being now." End quote. Must have 6. Lift the voice of support workers. Shout it from the rooftops. The profile of support workers must be understood and broadcast across society to ensure their role is seen and valued. This must include support workers being fully involved in shaping support and services alongside families, self-advocates and management. Quote, "It's taken a pandemic for the general public to realise the contribution we are making on a daily basis, caring for vulnerable adults before, during and after the pandemic. It's a privilege to work in health and social care." End quote. Finally, we say thank you, support workers. Be proud of your role and what you have achieved. Look after yourselves. Let people know what you need to stay healthy and well. And use your voice. Share your insights, creativity and ideas with your colleagues, your managers and peers around the country and beyond. Thank you, support workers.